Mac, thanks for joining us, man. We appreciate you taking the time.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Take two is stronger for me, by the way. So, look, my initial intro didn't go as promised, and Saturday night didn't go the way I think a lot of people wanted it to, the way that it finished. You mentioned your personal relationship with Isaiah Bolden. I know a lot of Patriots players were obviously concerned. A lot of Patriots players were worried. I'm curious how the last 48 hours have gone, and I'm curious if you've talked to him at all personally.
Yeah. I think definitely a scary situation. Like I said, I have known him for a long time, and definitely he's doing better, which I know for a fact. And I did see him, and he did give me a smile, so that was really good. And you never want to see anybody go down like that on the football field or really any field, right? It's tough. So I just felt like we made the right move, and just trying to pray for him, and I'm just glad that he's doing better.
I know directly after the game that Kendrick had talked about one of the first places his mind went was the Damar Hamlin situation that happened last year. Is that something that, I guess, do you feel like there's a change in how locker rooms and how coaches are now handling situations with very serious injury like that in the time that you've been even from college to the pros?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is to understand that as a player, we pretty much have the best staff in the world for that situation, regardless of what it is, whether it's something as bad as the Damar Hamlin or something else. You just know that you have pretty much an emergency room on the field, which is crazy, right? You got every doctor plus 10. It's like they got everything you need. So as a player, that's kind of what you have to just focus on, and not worry about getting hurt or not. But it's hard, right? It's part of the game. But there's some things that you can't control, and there's big hits out there, and it's definitely scary. But just knowing that we're in a really good place on the field.
Where were you for Damar Hamlin last week? Were you guys watching? Like, what was your experience watching that, and how did that compare and go through your thought process when everything was happening on Saturday?
Yeah, I think, like I said, it's just tough. You never want to see anybody down on the field, and when they're down for a long time, it's always hard to see that.
Okay, something happier. Let's talk about
Sure.
Demario Douglas, because you go back with him.
Yeah.
Are you surprised by how much he's been showing through training camp, through
Yeah.
preseason?
I mean, surprise is an interesting way to put it, right? Because I've kind of known him for a long time, and I know what he's capable of. But he's not the biggest framed guy, not the most impressive when you see him. But when you see him out there on the field, you're like, okay, this kid can play football, and that's what I love about him. He just has a big heart, wants to go out there and win, and he's going to continue to do that. I know that he's built from the right stuff, and definitely really like his personality too. He's really funny and brings a lot of juice to the field. So definitely happy that he's with us right now, and just got to keep pushing along and making those plays.
Is it odd at all to be in your third year now somebody who's like, oh yeah, I knew Demario, and even it's different circumstance, but even Isaiah, it's like, oh yeah, I knew him from 7-on-7s, I knew him from Jacksonville. Like, is that weird to be in that spot at all?
No, I think it's great. I think just to see the Jacksonville kids do really well is awesome. Yeah.
I'm thinking, because you mentioned how he's coming along going into his rookie year. Are you at a point now where when you're looking back on 2021 and your rookie year, is it starting to feel in any way like, wow, I had no idea how much I didn't know at that time compared to how far you've come now? Are you starting to get in that kind of reflective sense?
Yeah, I think I always talk about just every year evaluating everything, and it was 3 years ago at this point, or whatever, 2 years. So you just try to grow from each experience, and I've done that every year, and I've learned from a lot of really good players in front of me, whether that be in college or high school or here. So that's kind of what I've always done, and definitely, you have to take time to look back and see what you can improve on, but also things that, maybe things that were good and on all that too. So you can't just look at the bad stuff, you got to look at everything else too.
Joint practices canceled. How does that impact your prep for the game this weekend?
Yeah, I really do enjoy the joint practices, and I feel like they provide a lot for the team, and at the end of the day, we just have to control what we can control and go out there and compete.
When you say control what you can control, how do you control it differently? What do you work on in these against your teammates versus going out there against a different opponent in a different environment? Last week you were in Green Bay. You were supposed to be in Nashville. Like, what changes do you have to make?
Nothing really. We just practice against each other instead of another team. That's kind of the big difference, I guess.
Speaking of differences, how different does it feel in terms of your preparation? Does it feel different where you are at this point in preseason compared to last season for you individually? Do you feel like I know you guys have talked about how far along the offense has come, but for you personally as a player?
Yeah, I try to just focus on getting better and staying on my process, right? And I think a lot of the good players in the NFL do that. They just kind of, during preseason, you might not be getting all the reps. You might not be getting in the game as much, but you have to still focus on what's ahead, but also focus on the now. So for me, just making sure I'm staying in the weight room and staying on top of the film and the plays and helping the young guys while they're in there, all the little things like that. Because at the end of the day, there's a long journey ahead, and you can kind of control how long you want to go. It's just if you play well and keep winning, then you keep going.
On Saturday, and this is, my expert eye, it looked like you had more freedom at the line of scrimmage, opportunities to kill plays, opportunities to make adjustments. Would you say that it's an accurate assessment?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Have you played football?
No, no, trust me, no. So I'm going off the broadcast and just compared to how it looked last year compared to this year.
Yeah, that's a good analysis of it, because
I sound like a quarterback is what you're saying.
Yeah,
yes,
NFL quarterback. No, but you can see that, right, when you're up there. That's something that's cool about the system that's been here for so long. It's all about the quarterback and getting us into the right play, but it's also all about everybody else, because everyone has to be on the same page. It takes 11 guys, and we're trying to grow that part of it and kind of get back to what we can do really well in having multiple plays run at one time and things like that. So it's all part of the journey, and we'll just continue to expand on that so that we can have the most success possible for that play.
You mentioned that it's a system that has been here quarterback focused for so long.
Yeah.
Obviously not always the same system, not always the same coordinator, and you've been through 3 different offensive coordinators now in your 3rd year. With Bill O'Brien, do you find him referencing his former time here as a coordinator and even his time on the staff before that, saying, hey, this worked for us then and we can resurface this or anything like that?
Yeah, I think that's a great point. It's super unique because, like you said, it's the Patriots, but it's also, for me, it's Alabama too. Not to bring up the past too much, but he's seen.
We love bringing up the past around here, so don't worry about it.
But he's seen what the system I ran at Alabama. We've talked about it, and then obviously what he did here early on, 2007 or whatever it was, and those years. So he has a lot of knowledge of not only this system, but Alabama's system and things that I've done in the past. So that's cool for me. And a lot of the guys on our team really respect that about him, because he can come in and be like, hey, we tried this versus this team, and then he'll pull up the film of it, or we really like this play versus that look. So I think that's a good point, that the whole team really respects it, because he has a lot of experience, not only at the pro level as a head coach, but as a coordinator here for the Patriots, at Alabama as a head coach in college. So he's kind of done a lot of different things, which is really cool.
Would you say that just because he has so much background and overlap with you, does it feel like a collaborative process with him, where you're able to bring ideas to the table and say, when I was at Alabama, this is something that we did there that might work in this case as well? Yeah,
I'd say he's really good about pulling up all the old film and making sure that everything's sound, and that's another great point. It's hey, can we try this? And he's always very open to trying things, especially during practice. But at the end of the day, I know he's the coach, and he's going to make the right calls in the game. But it's definitely a partnership, like you said. You want to be able to work together, regardless of who your coach is, every time you go out there, to have the trust in him, and then him to trust you to do the right thing. So still building that. We have a lot of stuff we got to work through, but at the same time, I've been really pleased with a lot of the progress we've made from before OTAs to training camp to kind of putting it into a game. So
we're talking to Patriots quarterback Mac Jones here on Jones and Mego. It's WEEI.
Too many Joneses.
Too many Joneses. He's the quarterback. I'm the quarterback expert, as we've established here today. So when it comes to an interview that you did with Albert Breer at Sports Illustrated, I'm sure they were short, not long-winded questions whatsoever. I'm sure they were easy questions to deal with. When it comes to Alabama Mac, that's something you said you wanted to get back to in that story. Who's Alabama Mac?
Yeah, I think just continuing to work hard and be myself, and going out there and distributing the ball. We have great playmakers here, and I feel like I did my best at Alabama when I just got the ball to other people and let them make plays. So that's what it all comes down to. It's pretty simple. Just be a point guard and let them go make all the plays and score the touchdowns, and then celebrate with the offensive line. That's what it's all about for me, is everybody coming together and enjoying your success. That's a big part of it. It's hard to score in this league, and you want to score as many times as you can.
It seemed like, from reading it, and you tell me if I'm wrong, it seemed like from reading it, some of that meant to get back to not thinking as much on the field, too, and just getting out there and playing. Is that an accurate representation of it?
Not really. I think just like, for me, that's one of my strong suits. It's like, how do you channel it the right way? And I've always been a smart football player, and I'm just going to continue to do that.
How does it feel having Zeke on the team now? It's kind of just dropped in midweek as soon as you guys go to joint practices. What has he been bringing to the offense?
Yeah, I think Zeke, just talking with him and hanging out with him, he's awesome. He's just a great guy. I feel like he'll add a lot of not only things on the field but off the field. He just seems like a great leader. He's already bringing the juice to the practices, and I love that about him. And definitely got a lot of stuff we want to work on together, but he's already working really hard in the playbook and everything. And Madre's doing a great job in the whole running back room. I think Vinny does a great job in there, just keeping everybody to that standard. And there isn't a lot of drop off between players, which I love. So you're in there with one guy, you're in there with a different guy, but you know that they know what to do, and you have the confidence in every one of them.
How was dinner with Zeke?
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How does that come about? Like, when a player's in town, is that informal? Is that you have mutual friends? Is that team directed? Like, how does that come about? Because we were all fascinated by the pictures, as I know a lot of fans were.
Creepy pictures,
Yeah,
but still fascinated. Yeah.
Yeah, just trying to enjoy some grub,
Yeah. So, how does that come about? That's on your end. You just kind of say, hey, let's go to dinner.
Yeah, pretty much, right? It's
like anything else, like anybody else going to dinner.
Yeah, just trying to get to know each other and hang out and enjoy food together.
Is that
simple?
Is that something you I don't know, like, relish an opportunity to do that, where it's like, this guy may want to be a Patriot and you're kind of the spear of that pitch? I mean, effectively, you're there firsthand pitching him on it.
Yeah, I think that's important. I think as a player, you want to just voice your opinion and how you think they can help our team, and all the other stuff's above my pay grade. But I do think that there's some merit to showing your personality and explaining how you think that person can help the team. So I think we definitely did that, and I'm glad that he's here.
The energy around this team, I know that's kind of a loose term, but even just looking the way that you guys pivoted from one day to the next in your Packers joint practices, and then that carrying over into your preseason game, and on defense for sure. Do you feel like it's at a higher level than you were at this point last year? It just seems like you guys are super revved up all the time, kind of feeding off each other on all different aspects of the game.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think it all comes together, at those type of practices, because you're kind of competing against somebody else. And I feel like the defense, they always bring the juice. They have probably the most experience. They have a lot of guys that are returning, and they've played together for a few years now. And then for us, we're just trying to go out there and execute the plays. We're running a new offense and just trying to learn each other, and there's a bunch of new players and faces, but there's also some guys who have been here. So we feel like we just need to match each other's intensity. I think that's a big thing. Special teams, defense, offense, it's all about matching, the next group's intensity.
When you guys are in 11s at practice against each other, not in the joint practices, who's the most annoying person on defense? Who's the most annoying trash talker?
She asked that because I'm annoying. So she's like, I'm thinking of the annoying person.
When
Who's
they
the
win, you're
person?
just like, oh, we have to hear it from him again.
Yeah.
Or the best trash talker, I guess, in one sense.
Yeah, everyone always talks about Pep, but I don't ever get annoyed by him because I think it's funny. He's a good player and he backs it up with his play. So it's.
You're
fun.
like, oh, I could learn from that.
Yeah.
some of those lines he's got.
Yeah.
It was reported last week that Bill got a little hot at you, a little even exploded at you at one point. He cleared that up today on the Greg Hill Show. He said it's just coaching. How did you kind of interpret that? Did it even jump out to you? I think it was the Tuesday joint practice in Green Bay.
Oh yeah, I felt like it was his normal voice.
You're like, this is what he sounds like.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is Dad just getting his voice up a little bit.
No, I think it's good. I think it's more about just getting the message and clear everything up, on that situation. But it was just a super detailed thing.
Speaking of his interview today, were you aware he's a Swiftie? Were you aware that he's a Taylor? I know you're a Taylor Swift guy, right?
Yeah.
Am I speaking out of school? You're a Taylor Swift guy.
Yeah.
Were you aware that he's? I'm a Taylor Swift guy. Mego, Taylor Swift gal.
I'm all right with it.
She's all right.
I
That's
think
a no.
it's a little,
That's a no.
it's a
That's
little
a no.
overrated. I had to zag a little bit.
You can butt out of the
I like
conversation.
some of it. The
Did you-
early stuff.
Did
There
you
you
know
go, there
that
you go.
Bill? Did you know that Bill was a Swiftie?
No.
Do you think he is, or do you think I'm using that term improperly?
Oh, I have no idea.
He quoted the song.
Oh, he did?
He was quoting.
You need to calm down.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
He likes her newer stuff.
Yeah.
He's newfangled and on the bandwagon.
He likes
He's
all
not-
the ones where she's like in the woods
That's
with buns
Lover.
in her
That's
hair.
Lover, I think.
Yeah. Do you have an album you like? Lover. I like Lover.
Yeah. I mean,
1989.
yeah, you are a Swiftie then.
It's hard not to like 1989.
1989 is a good album.
Yeah.
Reputation. I like Reputation.
Oh, see, Reputation. See, not everybody loves Reputation.
Yeah.
Good
Zach.
album.
It's a good
I'm
album.
with you. We do Endgame at the end every show.
Yeah.
Taylor
Endgame's
Swift.
Good.
Yeah. See, there you go. He likes the segment.
Great.
Anything else, Mego? I did have one more thing for him.
No, go ahead.
So, a lot of quarterbacks, a lot of your peers in the league have been asked about doing season 2 of quarterback on Netflix. I'm not sure you've actually been asked. Number one, have you watched the show? Have you followed the show? Did you pay attention to it at all?
No.
Why not?
I don't really watch TV that much, honestly. So just trying to, I guess I could watch it if I have some free time, but we're kind of busy right now.
Okay, makes sense.
So wait, no Hard Knocks?
Yeah, no Hard Knocks either.
Did you watch it at all growing up?
I did when
Yeah.
I was little, right? Because I had more time, but
Yeah.
now it's kind of hard. But I do think it's cool, and I think a lot of guys will go on there, and you get to kind of see an inside of what football is like, and I think it's cool.
Just to be clear, you will not be doing season 2 of quarterback.
Probably not. I'll pass. on
Probably not. Okay, that's a door that's potentially open. Have they reached out to you? Have they asked?
that. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I feel like you'd be a good fit. I feel like the Patriots would be a great fit for that show, in all honesty. And you wouldn't even have to watch it because you lived it. You wouldn't even have to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
So there wouldn't even be any reason to go back and check it out. Well, Mac Jones, we're going to be watching all year. Patriots fans are going to be watching all year. We appreciate you doing this for the first time here on a Patriots Monday. We'll talk to you next week.
Cool. Thanks.